All right, race fans, we are back. Episode number 283 of the One to Go show. Bert, I don't know about you. Changa and I are watching qualifying. We got it on in the background. Not that it's overly exciting. I more have it on so I have a little extra light in the truck. That's kind of why I have it on. But anything exciting happen in qualifying yet? Nothing really, right? Hoffman, quick time, Davenport, quick time in his group. That's kind of about it.
Where's this at?
World Finals, Charlotte. Keep up, Bert. Come on.
Oh, we're not picking that race because we had the draft.
Well, yeah, and the draft started approximately a month ago, and it ended today.
Yeah, and I kind of got. We'll talk about the draft here in a little bit, but as always, Ryan Aho, your host. We got Changa in the house, former track champion up at the Proctor Speedway, former tear-off extraordinaire for MJ McBride. We got Bert Lehman in the house. So, Bert, you said busy time of year. You're out doing the Toys for Tots deal. That's kind of a cool deal that you're able to donate some time to the community there.
Yeah, today I spent 4 hours driving around dropping off the donation boxes. So, and got a little bit of a break, and then it's like 2 to 3 weeks of just pure madness in December.
Bert, you wouldn't have to drop off all the boxes. Just fill them all up yourself and drop them off and call it a day. I mean, what are we doing here? You're like the Wisconsin version of Elon Musk. You got all that money over there, right?
I know the One to Go show just fills my pockets.
Yeah, absolutely.
And here's the thing: we would have probably done the show last night, but Bert was dealing with the Lions Club. He
No,
gave up on his
I
Packers.
was home.
Totally gave up on his Packers, and he had a meeting with the Lions Club.
I was home by 7:30. We could have still had the show last night. It wasn't me.
So it's Wednesday night as we talked about. We got qualifying on in the background. But this episode brought to you by Impact Health Sharing. So it's that time of year. A lot of people are looking to change their health insurance plans. You know, if you pay for your own health insurance, whether you're single, a couple, family, small business, you have employees, whatever it is, and if you look at that at the end of each month and you're like, how can I pay less? How can I get a better deal on this? Well, I might have an answer for you. I talk to a lot of people, guys, that are paying, $1,500 or more a month for health insurance for a family. That's just ridiculous. I mean, the math is not mathing for the average American to be able to do that. The average family here, about 600 to 650 a month, and the deductibles are much less than, a lot of places that I've seen. So get a hold of me. You can shoot me a text, a call, hit me up on Messenger. My number 218-969-1380. I can get you a quick, no obligation quote. I can shoot you over some information on Impact Health Sharing to see if we can help you save some money on the healthcare costs moving into 2026. So, got to start with a donkey award. This one's from JR. JR is giving Puka a donkey award because Puka shot us over a message. He says, 7th birthday, right? 7th birthday for One to Go show. And I'm kind of looking at it. I'm like, God, it doesn't feel like it's that long. Close. 6th birthday. See, Puka's the numbers guy of the group. I'm not really sure, right? He's the numbers guy, okay? But
I'm going to guess.
Yeah.
I'm going to just guess that's where Uper learned from.
Maybe. I don't know that. Well, maybe his spelling too. I'm not really sure. Yeah, we pick on Uper there, but yeah, he wanted to give Puka a donkey award. He's like, he's not very good at math. I'm like, I got to go back, and he actually did the research. JR went back and found. So we have officially completed 6 years of the show, and we're moving into year number 7. So either way, happy birthday, guys. Hey, I saw him there online today. Our boy Brady Fossil birthday today. Shout out to the 27, one of the young guns up there in Hibbing. Got to give birthday wishes to Brady. But let's jump into this. So, kind of throwing a curveball to you guys because I changed the order on something. We're going to go with most recent. Monday, Tuesday, they had the Extreme Outlaw Midgets down at Millbridge in North Carolina. Pretty exciting. It's basically a go-kart track, small, tiny little bull ring. What is it, a 5th mile maybe? And they turn and burn. It's almost like going to the Chili Bowl type size of racetrack, right? And they got after it. Pretty cool to watch. Decent turnout. The favoritism, he must have had something to do with the show. Nick Hoffman getting the provisional both nights to get in. Didn't pay off for him. But a couple things stuck out. Quick results on that. So the Extreme Outlaw Midgets season come to an end. Jacob Denny goes on. He wins the championship. 10 different tracks that he won at. That was his first time being there this year. That's kind of a cool stat. So that was pretty cool. But he got snake bit night number 1. Almost got snake bit night number 2 because you get that little tiny bull ring, and every time there was a wreck, it was a parking lot, right? I mean, they're just traffic stopped. And the top 2, first night and second night, the top 2 got caught up in wrecks that happened from back markers rolling over. They both went to the back, and the third place car had to inherit the lead. Well, night number 1, Carter Sarf, he wins the race. Night number 2, he had to go to the back early, came from dead last to second. Night number 1, Jacob Denny had to go to the back too late in the race, got up to like 10th, and he wins it on night number 2, green and white checkered restart. But what stuck out to me, guys, is this. So, and this is where I got some questions for you guys. I want your thoughts, okay? I was watching both races, and they said in the Extreme Outlaw Midgets, every single race, heat, LCQs, features, doesn't matter what it is, not qualifying. If you have to go to the work area before the halfway mark of any of these races, guaranteed 2 minutes in the work area to get an opportunity to get back out onto the racetrack. Okay. Now, you think back, I don't know what it's like over in eastern Wisconsin, Bert, but I remember years and years and years of racing in our area, northern Minnesota, that if somebody got a flat tire, they'd go in, they'd kind of wait a allotted amount of time. Sometimes it was 2 or 3 laps. Yeah, a couple laps, or maybe it was 1 minute or 90 seconds. Everywhere was a little different on that, but they always gave them an opportunity to get back out onto the racetrack, right? So I'm like, all right, that's pretty cool. That's gone away. That does not happen anymore. That's no longer a thing, especially in heats. You get a heat in the heat race, you get a flat, you're just done. You go to the pits, you're done. Nobody does that anymore. Should that be something that comes back to dirt track racing on a weekly basis across the board? Heats, features, anything in between. I want you guys' thoughts.
Well, and I don't recall any eastern Wisconsin track allowing X amount of time or X number of laps. There's always the accusations that some drivers would get preferential treatment and they'd hold up the race a little longer for certain drivers, but start it really fast for other drivers. Whether that was true or not is up for debate. I don't want to see that on a weekly show. You have 5 different divisions, especially in heat races. I mean, we've all talked about, you have to keep the show moving along, and if you're allowing 2 minutes or 2 laps to change a tire, I just think it's going to drag out the show too much.
Okay, so I'm gonna combat you on that, if I may.
That's right.
Okay, all right. Don't have 5 fucking classes on a regular night, it won't be a problem.
Wow.
Right? It's just that simple, right? I know what it costs to race these days. I know what it costs to race. And you're a fan. Okay, you're a fan up in the grandstands. And I get it. Downtime sucks. Long programs are terrible. They got to be done 3 hours or less, period. Right? We can't have this 4, 5, 6 hour deal. Okay. And obviously, if you have 5, 6, 7 classes, it's going to turn into a disaster if you do that. Well, that's problem number 1. Don't have 18 classes on a regular night. But here's the deal. Myself, this is my thoughts, and I want Chonga's thoughts on this next, is there was nothing more exciting at a dirt track than when one of your top dogs had an incident early in the race. They went into the pits, changed a tire, fixed whatever they had to fix, come back out on the racetrack, and then you get to watch that driver charge to the front of the pack. You're not even watching the leader anymore. You're going, holy shit, is this guy going to get back into the top 3? How far up there is he going to get? It's exciting. It's called entertainment, right? Now we live in a world, and the point average was terrible. I'm thankful they got rid of that nonsense, right? But now we're in a world, I'm not gonna come back out there. And I'm gonna ask you about incentivizing this in just a few minutes. But the entertainment value of drivers going to the back and then coming all the way back up to the front and having something to fight for, that was pure gold. I loved that. But Bert, I understand your point.
Well,
5 classes of cars. Ugh.
and I do agree with you on, a driver who has problems and goes in, comes back out, and charges to the front. I mean, I've told this story on the show already. I had a friend. He raced hobby stocks, and he was racing for a championship, and he was involved in a wreck mid-race. I mean, granted, they did this during a caution and there's a long enough cleanup, but there's a hole in his radiator, so they took the radiator out, put a new radiator, duct taped the radiator in place, and I want to say he came back and won the race. I'm not positive on that, but yeah, I see. I agree with you on that.
Tonga, you guys did that. You guys had a duct tape a radiator back in the old 70 when A one night in Proctor. Now I didn't get up to the front because I destroyed some shit in that race, but we ended up salvaging the night, and it added to the points for the championship. Tonga, your thoughts on this? I mean,
There's a
it's a
lot.
whole nother discussion. Before you get in, it's a whole nother discussion of having too many classes. I
Right.
don't think anybody disagrees with that. I mean, that couldn't be truer. I mean, this 5, 6, 7, 8. I've seen as many as 9 classes of cars on a weekly show. If you start allowing a 2 minute, especially 2 minutes, if you allow 2 minutes for every single car that goes in the pits, you'll be there 12 hours. I mean, you can't have that. So that has to, you have to nip that in the butt. But Changa, your overall thoughts on, should they give an allotted amount of time, maybe not the heats, maybe the heats, right? Maybe 2 laps in the heats,
Right.
whatever. But should they give an allotted amount of time for the entertainment value and for drivers to have an opportunity to get back up there and put a real show on for the crowd?
Well, just listening to what you two said, I've got, several thoughts. I mean, you talked about the excitement of someone coming from the back after cutting a tire down. Nowadays, they don't even try, right? Back then, winning a track championship was important. Trying to maintain your track points was huge. Now they don't give a crap about that anymore. So that's kind of lost in translation a little bit. Um, and you're right. Back in the day, also they only had 4 classes, and it was that. That was when racing was great. And you know, but also back then, they had lap counters and some guy standing out on the straightaway with a radio pointing everybody where to line up. You automatically got time to change a tire just because that process took time. Whereas now the process is speeded up. Like I said, I don't know if I agree with it in heat races, but definitely any sort of consi or feature race, I think, it's probably a good idea. We got to keep in mind that there are travelers from out of town that come here to race. You want to at least give them an opportunity in a race to transfer into the show.
Well, let me add this in, right? If they're gonna have heat race points, then for sure they should allow you to change tires, right? Because I saw Blake Adams do this. I saw Joey Jensen do this. The top runners racing for national points. Something happened in the heat race. Load up. I'm going home. Night's over. Not going to get a keeper anyway. No sense even going back out on the racetrack and trying. Well, that certainly doesn't put an entertainment in the grandstands. That is terrible for racing, right? So step number one there is get rid of heat points. That's step number one. Incentivize heats by giving them better starting position in the feature. Top 2 redraw instead of top 4. I mean, there's things that you can do. I don't believe you need heat points. That's a whole nother discussion. But if there is heat points, man, I mean, if I'm going there to watch races and I'm watching my driver and my driver got a flat tire on lap 1 of the heat race, I might as well just leave, go home. Night's over. Waste of time even being there because they're not going to race the feature because there's no reason for them to, especially if they're not racing for track points.
Well, I mean, your national points guys are definitely the points chasers once they get their 30, and that's when they do that. There are a few guys that, do take the track championship thing seriously. There's a lot of guys that still only run 1 track a week, but
Right.
uh, uh, I just don't know. I mean, like you say, the way that racing is now, of course, they might have 9 classes, but there's only 9 cars in each class anyway. It's still about 30 cars less than what we had with 4 classes.
Right. So how could we incentivize this, right? Maybe maybe kind of work together, get some sponsorship dollars, right? And be like, all right, look, we're going to go across the board this year, and there has to be a minimum number of cars. This ain't going to happen in a 7-car feature. You go to the back in a 7-car feature, come to the front. I'm sorry, it's really not all that impressive. Okay. But if you're in a 20-car feature or more, and you get a flat tire early, you have to go to the pits, you come from the back in a 20-car feature and you win that race. Holy shit. That's a show. That's impressive. So maybe tracks should look at that and be like, hey, if we want more entertainment at the track level, let's incentivize this. In the feature races, start there. It doesn't have to be the heats. I understand the time limit deal and all the classes. Can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. But maybe tracks could work on getting some sponsors and be like, look, here's the deal. You get a flat and you go in and change it, or if you have to pit and you come from the back and you win the feature, we're going to give you X amount of dollars above and beyond your winnings. Do something. I mean, let's face it, if you're a track promoter, you should be looking at ways to create more entertainment for the people sitting in the grandstands. See, you can't cry on one side, well, I got no fans. I can't get nobody to come watch. Nobody wants to come to my track. They're all online watching streaming. Nobody wants to come here. We hear it all the time, right? Oh, the grandstands are empty. We're going to have to cut the purse if we don't have X amount of people, right? We hear this stuff everywhere, and it is a thing across the country. But on the other side, instead of worrying about the problem, why not start looking at some viable solutions? Make it more entertaining. And I saw that and I'm like, God dang, that's something that has not happened for a long time. And we have seen a few people do it. They get a flat tire, they're racing a series type race, challenge series, street stock tour, super stock series. Maybe they're racing for track championship, whatever it may be. So it's not like we never see it, but it's so rare. It's so rare. And man, some of my best memories, even racing a car, not just watching, but racing a car. I remember in Hibbing one night, got a flat tire with about 7-8 laps to go, and come down the back straightaway. I'm in third after we took the white flag, and I think it was Sam Skalski, Todd Lopak got together getting into 3. They both shoved up the track. I drove by them off of 4. I won from last after changing my tire. That's one of my better memories, right? You remember in Proctor, Changa, we were supposed to start like second outside in a 24-car feature. I got a flat on the parade lap. 24th to 2nd. Lawrence beat us that night. Fun race. I wanted to win, right? But it was a hell of a fun race, and the crowd enjoyed it. We had people come down. Holy shit, that was exciting. You gotta manufacture that. So, any more thoughts on this, guys?
No thoughts on that. I'll share a quick story if you want. Changa brought
Mhm.
up, in the past it took longer to line up the cars. Um, at Shawano Speedway in the 80s and I think even into the 90s, they had one of those whiteboards where you write with a marker that you can erase it. So they would radio from the tower to the person on the front stretch, and then he'd write the lineup. And every so often, a car would pull up and just sit there, and then they would ask him why. Well, they didn't write his number on the board, so he didn't know where to go. So then they'd have to radio back up to the tower to find out where. So yeah, there were longer gaps in the program because of the lack of technology at that time.
Yeah, for sure. And I remember those days with the whiteboard and all that too. With that said, I mean, that's another lost art, right?
Yep,
Think about the entertainment value. I remember, boy, was it um Jamie Nutsman at Cedar Lake,
yep,
running backwards down the racetrack, lining people up. You got
yep,
Flex over at Proctor, right? You know, that, people are like, oh, you don't need that anymore. We got the headsets, but it was entertaining. The crowd got
yep.
into it. They're watching the drivers and Don Hankey, the to the back, kind of, all that type of stuff. The showmanship of it, right? Even flagmen, we've seen certain flag people, they're up and they're animated, and then you see some that they just kind of like wave the flag, like, I don't even want to be here. You just kind of do that. Well, there's no more entertainment. There's no more showmanship. And that's a whole nother conversation that could go on for hours, but that's
Actually,
part of it.
that's one of the first things I noticed, and one of the things I talked about the most when I would talk to people in eastern Wisconsin after going to Cedar Lake for the first time, was how they lined up their cars. They didn't have a board. I mean, they had somebody on the track basically running around and going back, like you said, backpedaling and pointing. And I mean, yeah, it was fun to watch him.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's just all part of the overall entertainment. When I watch that Extreme Outlaw midgets there, I'm like, boy, that's a good idea. And the national series do it, right? World of Outlaws does it, Lucas Oil does it, they all have that, and I get it. All those races typically have, most of the time, one, two, at most three classes at these events, so they have a little bit more time to do that. um when you get into having 8 classes of cars or whatever, you got to be cognizant of time. If you're going to do that, you got to do that in such a manner to where, holy cow, we can't be here 4, 5, 6, 7 hours. You're going to piss everybody off. So there's a balancing act that has to be done. Another thing on the midgets. So I talked to Scott Bull, or Scott, good grief, my apologies, Matt Bull. I talked to Matt Bull here last week. And Matt's done a lot for racing in the Northland, with the liquid nitro deal and the quality freight rate, and a lot of different things that he's been part of, sponsorship programs, helping a lot of people out. Well, he started a deal called MBTV here this past summer. Primarily, they were working over at the Thunder Hill Speedway in Menominee, go-kart track over there, which they raced Wednesdays. Sounds like they're going to Thursdays this year. And you saw Fulton City is doing that track outside of it's not in the infield anymore, it's outside. Well, one of the things that they kind of have a primary focus on moving into 2026 is bringing midgets up here. They had midgets last year at Thunder Hill. Not a ton of them, but I think 8, 10 of them, 12 in the area. And there's a lot of interest right now in bringing midgets to the area, not for the bigger tracks. I mean, we can't have midgets on the half mile at Shawano. That would not be entertaining, right? Okay, that would not be a thing. But quarter mile and smaller, the go-kart type tracks, maybe deal up in Barnum, for example, right? Different things like that.
You know,
Stay tuned on that. That's gonna be kind of cool.
when we were all down at Cedar Lake for the USA Nationals, like the night before, so they raced Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I think RTJ was in town on a Wednesday, and he had put something out on Facebook that he went over to Thunderhill or whatever and was checking the place out. And he's like, God, I just want to get in one of these little cars and run something at this place.
My guess is he might do that next year because they are going to run that Wednesday again right before the USA Nationals. That's something that maybe we should take a run down there. I've never been to down to Thunder Hill, and it sounds like a pretty good group of people that are at the USA Nationals head down there on Wednesday night. Sounds like it's kind of a neat deal. Might be worth checking out.
Speaking of Thunder Hill, did I see that correct on Facebook that there was a late model practicing at Thunder Hill this past week, getting ready for the Dome?
And the mod.
Was there a late model there too? Who was it? Was that
It's
G.O.A.T.
G.O.A.T. Okay, yes, yes, yep. And yeah, that's exactly right. Now, I don't think you're going to see too much Blake. Yeah, I don't think you're going to see too much racing, but yeah, they were definitely testing. We've seen that for sure. But the midgets, I enjoy watching midget racing. I do. They're throwing sliders, haymakers, cartwheeling, which is fun to watch as a fan. Not so much if you're the driver or car owner, right? We don't want nobody getting hurt, but it's just part of it. But that class, when you get it's like a bee's nest out there, highly entertaining. Stay tuned on that. That's something to keep an eye on moving into 2026 in the Northland. So, guys, the big week right now, the big thing going on right now, it's World Finals week, right? Over at the dirt track in Charlotte. They're time trialing right now. And we did a draft for this. Bert's like, holy shit, we did that so long ago, I forgot we even did that, right? But we did a draft for that. And last week, they had, what was it, the World Short Track Championships over there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy, oh, boy.
It could have been the World Short Track Baja.
Oh, my God, guys, was that... I mean, if you think you race on a rough track, go ahead and just Google online any pictures or video from that event last week. Now, in their defense, it rained like crazy the few days leading into that, and they had to push back a day, and they fought the weather. We know how that works in dirt track racing. But wow, was there some tore up shit. And just a quick little recap on a couple of the classes we picked. In the mods, kind of a surprise. Some heavy hitters in the mods. A guy by the name of Ray Cable from Westminster, Maryland, won the A main in that deal. Tyler Spalding, which I believe is Kurt Spalding's kid, got second. Ryan Ayers got third. And Changa, you talked pretty highly. You said Drake Troutman put on a hell of a show.
Yeah, no, I did. I watched that feature, and so Troutman come from the back, and it was a 25 lap feature, and I think he got to the lead on lap 20, and it was kind of everybody running the bottom where it's smoother, and it wasn't as rough, that day as it was the first couple days. But there was some stick and some chop up high, and he was just powering through it and just drove by the whole field, gets to the lead. So as soon as he got side by side for the lead, a lapper kind of crossed up in front of the guy that was leading. It wasn't Tyler Spalding, it was the other Spalding that was leading at the time.
Kurt.
Messed him all up. So Troutman inherits the lead, takes off. He's like a second and a half ahead in like a lap. Cuts down a right rear tire, like 4 to go. So that was heartbreak to go from last to first and lose a tire with 4 to go.
He's good in that mod. He's really good.
Yeah,
and then we picked the 604 crate late models down there, which, a lot of people, you get up in Wissota country, you're like, 604 crate lates. I mean, that's kind of JV lates. We hear that all the time. Well, down there, the 604 late models, that is their version of what we would consider Wissota late models. They don't have like a spec motor type late model class. That is their weekly late model class. So there's some hitters in that class, right? Third went to that John Ruggiero Jr. I believe he runs the house car for Longhorn. I think that's what he does. Matt Henderson got second, but the winner, guys, Bert, did you see who won that?
I did, but I can't remember who now.
Come on, Wissota Zone, right? From Montana?
Michael Leach.
Michael Leach.
Yes.
Now his it's his dad that owns Longhorn, right? Did you know that, Bert?
No.
Yeah. Paul Leach owns Longhorn. Arpin runs it. He's the main jammer there, but they have the Low Bro, big company out in Montana, do a lot for racing. I mean, they're heavily involved with a lot of stuff. His brother Tyler Leach is a hell of a racer too. But Michael Leach, he's run some open stuff this year, right? We saw him. He's been at Eldora and some of the bigger shows. Kind of, not a lot of years behind the wheel of a late model. But hey, that's a Wissota guy right there. He started out in Montana, ran a lot of Wissota stuff. Remember, a couple of years ago, he came over to Minnesota at the end of the year and had some top fives in some of the Wissota postseason, Fall Classic, and he ran really good at some of them end of the year stuff in Wissota racing. And then he's down, of course, in Charlotte. I think he's working right at Longhorn, and to see him get a big win down there, very cool. Congrats, Michael Leach, on that one. So that's a little bit of a recap from that. Track conditions look a hell of a lot better tonight in time trials than they did last week with the rain. So sounds like they got the work done on the track. Hopefully the weather cooperates. Now, last year, okay, I'm gonna give you a minute to think about this, right? So if you had to pick a driver in each of the 3 classes this week, okay, you got World of Outlaw late models, World of Outlaw sprints, and the Beasts of the Northeast, the Super Dirt Car Series big block mods. If you had to pick a driver that you're like, gun to my head, this guy will win at least one feature this week, okay? Okay, think about that. And give us a sleeper. Somebody that, don't be like, oh, Rico's a sleeper. Rico's not a sleeper, okay? Somebody that's not the guy that's winning a ton of races, that you could be like, hey, this guy could be somebody that could maybe crack some top fives, maybe compete for a win. Last year, the podiums in the sprint car, Gravel, Kofoid, Peck, night 1, Macedo, Kofoid, Peck, night 2, and then Tyler Courtney, of course, he's not racing, right? I think, isn't Salzy driving that car?
Yeah.
Yep. So he recovering from injury. So Courtney, Gravel, Macedo, night 3. Late models, RTJ, Troutman, Madden, night 1. Bobby Pierce, Dillard, Marlar, night 2. Madden, RTJ, Marlar, night 3. And then in the big block mods, former late model standout, right? Tim Fuller, Anthony Perego, and Demetrius Drelos, night one. Matt Williamson, Matt Shepard, and Drelos, night two. And I don't think Drelos is there, is he?
I
'Cause
don't
he
know that
ran,
I've seen his name. I don't know that I saw his name come up in qualifying.
yeah, he ran late model stuff most of the year this year. And
Yep.
then Anthony Perego, Tim Fuller, and Williamson, night three. So Bert, why don't you start with this? We'll make 2 laps around here. Okay, give me if I had a gun to my head, give me 3 guys, late models, sprints, big block mods that
That are going to win.
that are going to get a win this week. Who should we
Uh,
be watching?
Williamson in the big blocks.
Yep.
I'll say gravel in the sprints. And should I leave him for you, Changa?
Yeah, leave his boyfriend for
I'll say Davenport.
JD. Okay. Changa.
I would go RTJ, Williamson, and gravel.
Well, and
You
then he
can't
didn't
have
even take
Williamson.
him.
You can't have Williamson. You can't have gravel.
I
Sorry,
have to do
buddy.
someone different.
Yeah, you got to do
Oh,
something.
you didn't specify that. You just
Well,
said who do I
come
think's
on
gonna
now.
win.
I mean, what are we talking?
All right.
What Bert said. What Bert said. No.
Okay. Well, I guess RTJ.
Yep.
Judging off of what I've seen in qualifying now, I guess Perego looks pretty quick, so I'm going to take him. And then sprint car guy, I guess I'll do Kofoid.
Kofoid's been good. Yeah, he's been and Kofoid last year second the first 2 nights. I mean, so for sure. So I'm gonna go after talking to Arpin. I picked Madden. Madden will be good, but he goes, Huddy looks good in the 6. I don't know how he qualified tonight. He goes, but Huddy
Third, I
looks.
think.
Yeah, he goes Huddy. So I'm gonna take Huddy in the Rumley ride in the late model. In the modified, nobody picked this guy. I mean, Matt Shepard, right? I mean, but I'm not gonna take him. I'm gonna take Tim Fuller because I drafted him. He got a first. Yeah, he's there. Yep, he's there. And then I guess I will take, as far as if I had to pick a guy that's going to win, I'll take Rico. He's been red hot. Wasn't sure if he was going to go. It kind of sounded like he wasn't, then he was, and then he wasn't. And then I saw yesterday that they were heading down. I saw a post. So, yep. So Rico Abreu. So now sleeper picks. This is where it gets a little bit maybe more interesting, hopefully, right? So Bert, give us your sleepers.
Is Peck considered a sleeper since he was on the podium twice last year?
Yeah, I don't think I wouldn't consider him an elite. You know, he's
Okay.
good. He's good, but he's not. I wouldn't consider him.
Well, he's on my team, but when I was doing the research, he had good finishes there last year, and so I'll go with him in the modified. I'm unfamiliar with a lot of the drivers in the big block, so give me my second big block driver that I drafted. I think it was Britain or something like that.
Peter Britton.
I think he was fast time in his group, maybe.
Okay.
Is Marlar considered a sleeper?
Boy, I don't know. He's coming off a couple wins, right?
That's what
and he had 2 podiums last year.
I was going to use that too, Bert.
Okay.
You can use him. I mean, I wouldn't consider him a top 5. That's fine. I wouldn't consider him a top 5 driver in the. He's good, but I wouldn't put him on the same level as an RTJ Pierce. So on and so forth.
Coincidentally, I picked all my drivers, so.
Right, there you go. Changa.
I guess. Well, who did he use? Marlar.
Yeah.
Is that who he used? I guess I'll do Hoffman for my. I guess he's not really a sleeper, but he's not RTJ or Hoffman or Pierce, so I'll go with a Hoffman.
Quick time in his group.
My big block guy, I'm going to go with Yankowski.
Alex Yankowski. He's been good.
He's had a good year. And then I'll go way off the board. I'm going to go I'll go Tanner Holmes in the sprint car. First race in the 13 car.
You sniped me. That's what I had. All right. Yeah. Okay. So I did have a backup just in case. So in the late model, I'm going to go Rice Baby. He's in the 11R. I'm going Josh Rice. This is his first race in the Ratliff car, right? I believe.
What is going on here now? the 18 car has Corey Eliason in it.
Yeah. Yep. Gio's there though, but I don't know what he's raced. There might be two 18s. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But yeah, Corey Eliason's in that. So I'm taking Josh Rice. It's going to be super fun to see him on whatever tour he gets on next year. And I think he's going to be really fun to watch, especially if the track's got any semblance of a cushion, which it does tonight in time trials. He's going to be ripping the lip. In the big blocks mods, I'm going to take a guy that raced for Rookie of the Year honors in the late models last year. Didn't race much this year. He's on my team. I drafted him, Mad Max McLaughlin. I'll take him. He's running. He ran a handful of shows here over the last month, and
He's
then
in a late model?
he's in a big block mod.
Oh, I didn't even see him there either.
Yeah, he's there.
He's the one who caused a lot of controversy last year or the year before
He
in our
did.
draft.
Yep, yep. And then in the sprint car, I'm going to take a guy that has been solid but not great. But it seems like every time we do a draft, right, whoever gets this guy ends up benefiting greatly. I'm going to take Garrett Williamson. I'm going to take Garrett Williamson as just. I'm not saying he's going to win, right? But I can see him rattling off some pretty solid finishes over the weekend. So, do you guys have written down who's on your team? So we each pick 6 drivers, take the top 4 drivers each night over the 3 nights. Bert, who's your team?
I have Mike Marlar and
Peter Britton.
Peter Britton, Justin Peck. Go on and I'll think of the other ones.
Changa?
I was gonna write them down and I forgot.
You're getting old.
So-
You're getting old. It happens.
So
Changa, who's on your team?
I did this draft, and I don't know how proud I am of it, but I tried to go 2 late models, 2 big blocks, and 2 sprints. So I've got
That's what I did.
Yep. So I've got Carson Macedo and Chris Wyndham are my sprint car guys. Brian Shirley and Dale McDowell are my late model guys, and then I've got Jimmy Phelps and Ryan Godown as my modified guys.
So I did the same. It wasn't designed that way. It just turned out that way. Late models, I got Chris Madden and big sexy Brandon Overton. In the big block mods, I got Mad Max McLaughlin and Tim Fuller. And in the sprint cars, I got Corey Day and I took Anthony Macri. And he basically said because the way the track looked last week, he got injured here a month or so ago. He opted out of going. He stayed home. So
That's
I only got 5. I don't have 6. I only got 5.
Bummer.
Yeah. You guys are really heartbroken over that one, right?
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see.
One of my other drivers, I took Shepard, Big Block Shepard in the first round.
Hold on.
So I got Big Block Shepard.
Matt Shepard.
So Bert, you have Matt Shepard was your first pick, Mike Marlar.
Yep.
And then you got Justin Peck. Peter Britton, Zach Mitchell in the late model, and Skylar G in the sprint car. Right. Skylar G. Not to be mistaken with the legendary Bobby G from Kelly Lake.
Right.
Kelly Lake royalty, right? All right. So a quick shout out here, Fastlane Motorsports and Powder Coating up in Ashland, Wisconsin. They build the Galloper chassis. They're the #1 sponsor of the best series in Wissota Racing, the Northland Superstock Series. Custom powder coating, sandblasting, fabricating. They get any part you need. They service a lot of tracks. They help a lot of people out. If you need racing parts, it's that time of year, right? You're starting to look ahead to 2026. For all your racing needs, for any parts that you may need, give Chris and the gang a call. Fastlane Motorsports and Powder Coating, Ashland, Wisconsin. So speaking of Wissota, guys, so Bert, have you ever deer hunted? I don't picture you as a deer hunter, but did you ever deer hunt?
When I was like 6 years old, I tagged along with my older brother bow hunting one time. That's the only time I ever went hunting.
And I know Chonga never deer hunted. He don't like hurting animals. He'd probably cry if he shot one. So let me ask you this. Would you say that deer hunting, though, traditionally is a pretty big deal. Opening weekend of deer hunting is a
Oh
pretty
yeah.
big deal in the state of Minnesota and Wisconsin, right?
Oh,
Not
So,
like it used to be 25 years ago,
oh,
but
I
yes.
agree with that, but it's
yeah,
still a big
it's
deal.
and people that race, I mean, they're like, hey, we raced all year long. They're kind of looking forward to it. Well, for years and years and years, the Wissota annual meeting, banquets, all that was the second week of deer camp, not freaking opening weekend. I don't know what the hell happened here, but I can tell you right now, my phone blew up over the last couple weeks, and I'm not going to say names, but there are people that are racing that were in the top 10, track promoters, right? A variance of people going, what are these people fucking doing? Why on earth would you schedule the Wissota banquet and make people go to get their whole check, right? On opening weekend of deer hunting. It just, know your audience. It makes no sense to me. So very unfortunate. I don't know what happened there. I mean, you'd think that, I mean, they had it at the same place every single year. You'd think they kind of have that figured out by now. The rules portion of this kind of gone by the wayside because the tech committee essentially makes the rules. There is no more voting on rules by promoters in Wissota. That's no longer a thing. Just administrative. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see what happens over this weekend. But yeah, I had some people going, I don't even want to go to the banquet. I don't want to be there. I don't want to go to the rules meet. I don't want to go to any of it. I want to go deer hunting this weekend. I know a lot of
But
people passionate about deer hunting.
don't they give up part of their winnings then?
Yeah, if they don't go, they got to give up a portion of their winnings. So it's just, yeah, super unfortunate. So let's jump into the next segment here. So you talked briefly. We had the National 100 last weekend, East Alabama, Puka's kind of race, right? A lot of cars, a lot of classes, marathon type deal, right? And the main focus for us, of course, was the late models. Pretty solid field of cars. Um, did either of you write down? I do have the podium finishers each night. Any of you, either of you write them down?
I
I've
did
got
not write
notes,
them
yes.
down.
Yeah, yeah. Changa, why don't you give us a little, just give us the podium finishers each night,
Sure,
and
sure.
what stuck out to you?
So Friday night, big sexy Brandon Overton got a win finally. It's been a long time since like May, I believe, since he's won a race. So good to see him running up front again. Mark Whitener was brought it home second. Turbo with the third place finish, followed by Dalton Cook, Jimmy Owens. Saturday, this one was kind of fun. Jimmy Owens wins the race. All right, and we'll get to that. Brandon Overton second, Dalton Cook third, Josh Putnam 18th to fourth. Good run for him. And then Brent Larson 14th to fifth. So another good run for one of our locals in that one. But Mark Whitener, guys, crossed the line first place, goes across the scales. Donkey award for this guy. Forgot to put fuel in the car before the race. Light at the scales. Donates the win to Jimmy Owens.
I gotta be honest. You know who the donkey award should go to? All the
Pit
people that
crew.
were just bashing the shit out of East Alabama. Because I looked online, I'm like, what happened? And I'm telling you what, the internet went crazy. Their scales are shit. This place is a joke. He got screwed. I mean, just people lighting them up like crazy,
Oh,
right? And then lo and behold, Bridget Whitener, Mark's wife, puts out a post. Yeah, they forgot to put fuel in before the feature.
did you watch the whole weighing go down?
I did not.
I watched it. He pulled on the scale. The scale guy looked at it, and then
Backed him off. Put him back on.
there's actually a sheriff there, and they had him go back on the scale, and they called the sheriff over to the scale to look at the numbers, just so there was another set of eyes verifying that he's light.
No kidding. I
Yeah.
did see the sheriff walked a couple people out in handcuffs one day. I don't know what that was all about, but they get a little rowdy down there in the South. I mean, it's like fighting it's like hockey down there. It's like pretty much every good hockey game's got at least one fight in it. Down there, every race night's got at least one fight. So there's probably been an incident where they got out, wanted to beat the hell out of the scale guy or something, or we're like, you're lying to me, So wow, that's interesting that they have to go to that length down there. But yeah, unfortunately for him in Changa, I'm pretty sure, and I didn't confirm this, but I think Mark Whitener might be related to Brian Dalsiak. Because our boy Brian Bert not once but twice ran out of fuel in a feature because he forgot to put fuel in. So he didn't even get to be light because he didn't finish the race to be light. So maybe there's something there. I'm not really sure. So we'll have to find out.
Okay, and
You
then
mentioned something about Turbo too. Didn't he spin out in front of the whole field one night?
Yeah, that was
that
the
was Saturday,
second night.
Yep.
That was
Started outside pole or something and
yep.
ran out
Started
of
on the front
challenge.
row and spun out, and then they restarted the race, and I think everybody got their spot back.
Was it? Must have been first lap type deal.
Yeah, it was on the first lap. It was in the first corner of the first lap.
What do you guys think about the original restart rule where everybody gets their spot back on an opening lap incident?
Ridiculous. You spin out, you should go to the back.
I mean,
yeah, I would agree.
There's no reason the first lap should be different than any other lap.
I mean, and if it is, right, if you're racing and you're starting third row and the track's not all that great, why wouldn't you throw an absolute haymaker on lap one? If it sticks, you got the lead. If you
Right.
spin out, you get
Oh,
your
well.
spot back anyway. So who cares, right?
Right.
Just don't wad your shit up though. That could
We'll
happen.
do it 4 or 5 times until you get it right.
Right? Fair enough. Fair enough. Anything else stick out to you over at East Alabama?
Well, then we still got the Sunday results as well. So the main show, 30,000 to win. Turbo wins the big show, followed by Dennis Erb, Jimmy Owens, uh, Big Sexy. He broke leading on like lap 12. Fan blade or something broke.
Broke a
And,
fan.
and he was kind of, it was 12 laps in, but he was checking out. And I know I didn't watch this one, but I know you guys had a bunch of banter back and forth about it there, talking about guys like Turbo. He just pitted for no reason. He says, I wasn't broken. I didn't think I had a tire going down because I just pitted.
Did he must have did he change tires or did
I
he
don't
say?
think he even changed anything. I think he just
Oh, he
came
did?
in.
It seemed like about everybody. I'm a 100 lap race at East Alabama. The track kind of latched up or whatever.
It
But
was just like
second,
come in, check out the tires, make sure they're good type of deal.
right? Second straight national 100 win for Turbo. He won it last year too, so that's a pretty big win for him. So the other thing that happened here is the high limit schedule came out a couple days back. The high limit sprint. So a few key dates in our area, right, and a few question marks, right? So the key dates to me, right? Well, actually, Bert, did either of you write down some of the key dates?
Yes.
Chongo,
No.
Chongo, why don't you give us a couple key dates in the area, and then then we'll talk about the TBDs.
And there's a couple of them. Well, I'll just start. So Red Cedar Speedway, Wednesday, July 3rd. Wednesday, July 4th, to be determined. Okay.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that in a second.
Yep,
They had a
yep.
hell of a show at the Red Cedar Speedway, Menominee.
That was a great
last
race.
year. That was a really, really good show, really good turnout. So hopefully
Rico
they
got
can
that one
repeat that.
done. So Friday, June 5th, I-94 Speedway. And then they go.
That surprises me. I was surprised to see them with a high limit date.
And then let's see what. Then the next one would be out. Is it June 6th? Is that the Dakota Speedway out at Mandan?
Yep.
And then I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they have an off day to be determined on the 7th, and then
Yep.
the 8th is an off day, and then the 9th they're in Nebraska.
Right. Yeah. So
At
staying
Eagle
somewhere in
Raceway.
that area.
At Eagle Raceway. Yep.
And then did you see where they are June 26th and 27th?
Yeah, Big Sky Speedway out in Montana there.
Yeah, double header out there and out in Billings. So good to see them up in the Northland. I think this is Man Bundan's like this may be the furthest north they've been. They were in Menominee, of course, last year, but you get them up in Fergus and in that area. That's new. And then the big question mark though is what are the to be determined dates? Any speculation, right? The Red Cedar Speedway on Wednesday, and then a Thursday date. Now that could be a travel date, possibly, right? But it's
it
not
does say
that
to be
far.
determined. It sounds like they're looking for something.
Yeah, and they might already have something. They just don't have the ink dry yet. But Red Cedar Speedway to I-94 must be about 4 hours, maybe somewhere in that neighborhood. So that's not. I mean, that's an overnight deal for them guys. I would assume there's going to be something on that stretch in between. I don't think it'll be Cedar Lake because they have the World of Outlaw dates there and they're pretty loyal to the World of Outlaws. Any guesses? And Bert, we talked in our group chat. It's like, well, maybe that'll be Eastern Wisconsin, but you're right. I don't know that they're going to go
Yeah.
back east.
Right.
I
They
think if they were
dropped
going to
that
do
141 race.
yeah, if they were going to do Eastern Wisconsin, I think they would do that first,
Right.
and then work their way over that way. So, what is in between Red Cedar and Fergus that you could possibly see them doing?
I mean,
On the clock.
Wisconsin track. The only Wisconsin track that I think that would possibly fit would be if they went down to Angel Park, and then go over to Minnesota. But even that might be a stretch.
Yeah, it's backtracking down to Madison down
Right.
there. So what's that? That's about
So
2.5 hours, but then it's a straight shot.
realistically, anywhere kind of between Menominee and I-94. I mean, you're gonna have Gondik. I mean, they ain't gonna go to Rice Lake. That's right down the road. But
Right.
maybe, I mean, the Gondik hasn't had a big sprint car race. I could see that as a possibility. Potentially, the promoter / track runner guy might have already reached out to him there.
It's possible. It'd be cool to see. It'd be cool to see. The
Now,
other
how
one
about
is
Ogilvy?
Deer.
I mean, Ogilvy could maybe be. I know they also do World of Outlaw races with the World of Outlaw sprints, but their schedule's not out. I mean, they could easily swap that depending.
Ogilvy is a big time possibility because there are tracks on the schedule that run both World of Outlaw and High Limit dates at them, right? That's not
I mean, Cedar Lake's an option too if you look at it that way, but
I don't. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't. Well, Cedar Lake schedule's already out.
right.
Yeah, so they already posted their schedule. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's there. Ogilvy's a possibility. Deer Creek, maybe a possibility. Could
Viking?
possibly go to Deer Creek. Huh?
Viking,
Well, we talked to Kraus. He said
right?
that's not going to be a thing. So it'll be interesting to see. And then on that second one, right? You're in Mandan on June 6th. Is there a possibility they end up in Minot?
So I looked at this one, right, and you know, like on somewhat anywhere on the way to Nebraska, right? What tracks? What do you have? You got Jamestown, you got Fargo, Miller, Aberdeen, Huron, Casino.
Aberdeen would be badass.
Right, but they don't like to. They like to
Aberdeen with
support
a
their
high
own
limit
at
race.
that place, but that would be
Right.
badass. But yeah, you got
Aberdeen would be
Aberdeen.
cool.
Huron only runs a couple times a year. That maybe
I don't know that they
no.
would do that.
They
Yeah.
would never. They would never go to Houston's, would they?
Boy, I don't think so.
That's kind of they're
with
kind of married
yeah, Queering is they're pretty tight in with the World of Outlaws. I just don't see that
So
happening.
then I looked into there's a place called Lincoln County Raceway. It's in a place called North Platte, Nebraska.
North Platte,
Nebraska. I mean that could potentially be one. I-80 in Greenwood, Nebraska is like 20 minutes or 20 miles away from.
Well, that's
where they're
close,
going.
right?
I don't
That's
know.
not
They
even a track.
raced this year. They had results from there this year when I was looking through there, I think. But
yeah, I thought that's where they had the Diamond Nationals or whatever, wasn't it? I think that place closed.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I-80 is closed. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. Maybe put in the comments below. What do you guys think? I mean, any guesses on these TBD dates up in the Northland, and where would you like to see it? Where would you guys like to see it? And while you're at it, we'll pause. While you're posting in the comments, like, share, right? Comment. Tell us if you want a high limit race at your track and what that track may be. Get that in the comments down here. So share. Definitely do that. So I want to shout out right now to another one of our sponsors, boys, East Central Sports, right? We'll talk about cool kid shit right here. They got some cool stuff over there. If your inner child is coming out and you want to have some cool kid shit, you better go over to East Central Sports. And they're in Rush City, Minnesota, just north of the Twin Cities there on I-35. They are your number one source for pit bikes, kids ATVs, golf carts, El Toro lawnmowers, whole lot more. Davenport. They just they got a golf cart from them here just a little bit ago. They had a pimpin' ride that Mac brought over to the USA Nationals. Let them know you heard about East Central Sports on the show for $100 discount. You can give them a call, 320-358-1994, or check them out online at www.eastcentralsports.com. So I'm looking at this. Remember I mentioned Williamson as a possible sleeper?
Yeah, he's second quick right now.
Friday qualifying session for the Friday's race. He's second quick. So they must have 3 complete qualifying sessions for each class, huh? The Thursday qualifying, the Friday qualifying, the Saturday qualifying.
No, they have 2. They have Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday is set up by points from. I think it goes off of your best points night from the first 2 nights. Is how they line up Saturday.
Is that how they do it?
I think so. Yeah.
I thought it was just 3 separate entities, but I could be completely wrong. I guess we'll find out in a little
I mean, I
bit.
think they run heats and features, but you're lined up in the heat based off of your best points night in the first 2 nights.
So with Soda National Championship trivia standings right now, I'm at 13. Chonga's at 4. Bert is at 2. Bert's like, I just don't know a lot about these Soda guys. We have to get studied up here, right? Last week, Chonga gave the clue and ended up being Brandon Davis. Josh gave me some shit that I didn't get it right away, and my mind went
That's his home track guy. He's gonna know it.
No, it's not.
Huh?
Josh lives in Watertown, South Dakota.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. Brandon Davis was like Deer Creek, I guess. Yeah, I suppose.
Not even close to the same.
No, I got you. Yeah. I was thinking that. Yeah.
But yeah, when you said Medford, my mind went to Wisconsin.
That was the whole point. That's why I didn't say Medford,
yeah,
Minnesota.
you did well on that. So this week, Bert Lehman gives the clues. So we get to see if Chonga can maybe hit that 5 mark here. Okay.
Hey, Bert, what do you say we just abort this whole segment and come up with a new one? I mean, we'd have better luck if it was like Packers trivia, and I don't even like the Packers.
Maybe we could do a deal where I give some random stats from a driver, and then you got to guess what driver that is.
Yeah, from like current year.
From the current year. From current year. Yeah, current year.
That could be a winter thing.
Yeah, we could do something like that. All right, Bert. It's kind of fun learning a little bit about some of these drivers. So.
All right. First clue. This driver won the Soda 100, but not at Cedar Lake. At one time in this driver's career, he built his own chassis. Steve Larson once raced for this driver, and their cars had matching paint schemes except for the number.
Oh, God.
This driver was the keeper of the fire in relation to one of his sponsors. This driver won a Soda National Championship racing a car with an engine larger than a typical Soda engine, but the engine was not illegal.
Pete Parker.
Wow, yes.
No shit. I did not know that. Okay. Wow. That is some off the. How'd you guess that? Just because he's Eastern Wisconsin?
Well, built the own car thing, and then won the.
I never knew he built his own car.
And then
he built trailers.
Well, he was like reliable welding, I figured.
Well, it was a reliable welding chassis.
Right.
Yeah. He couldn't have built many. He built trailers more than anything.
Oh yeah. Right. Well,
and then his day was before they had the Soda 100 at Cedar. I figured
he won it at Marshfield. He won the first ever Soda 100. I figured if I did that clue, you guys would be thinking west, the Dakotas and stuff. So, but I thought Ryan, you might get it with the Steve Larson clue.
My mind went to
Lance
Matthews when he said that, and I'm like, wait, he never won.
Yeah, I remember him driving for Lonsky and a number of other people, but I do not remember him racing for Pete Parker. Any tidbits on when that may have been?
That was in the early 90s.
Early 90s. Was it a
Yep.
whole year or just a couple shows or?
I don't know if it was a whole year. It was a good portion of the season.
Huh. Nice. Well done.
And
You slipped
then
one past me. Good
the
job, Changa.
the Keeper of the Fire clue, he was sponsored by Potawatomi Bingo, so he had Keeper of the Fire on his
Okay.
car.
Interesting.
Other clues, although this driver raced cars in many different colors, this driver is most known as the Man in Black. He was
Yep.
called the Man in Black. And the larger engine, my understanding is when Eastern Wisconsin went with soda, they were given at least 1 year, if not 2 years, grandfathered to run their old engines. And some of the drivers in the western part of Wissota were not happy about that.
Ah, damn cheaters. Typical Wisconsin. I freaking cheaters over there.
It wasn't cheating though. It wasn't illegal. This driver is in the National Dirt Late Model Hall of Fame. The trailers that this driver made may have been as popular as the driver himself.
Yeah, they
Um,
were for sure.
Even with the introduction of toters and enclosed trailers, this driver usually traveled to races in a pickup truck pulling an open trailer. Even
I have a picture of that. I have a picture of his black dually pickup truck with
Yep.
his Parker trailer behind it, and
I
yeah.
think I do too.
One time at Shino, he did have a toter and an enclosed trailer, and you know how the cars come out on top? They didn't have a block in, and the car came down and it was sitting like this. The front end was on the ramp yet, and the tail end was on the ground.
No.
Nice. Nobody got hurt, I hope.
No, nobody got hurt.
All right, 2025 pick'ems. Good job, boys, on that. 2025 pick'ems. So Governor and Dano won. They tied for the win in week 44. Congrats to those two. Our points right now, I'm leading at 726. Changa's second at 699. Bert, you're at 684. Governor's only 5 points behind you now for a
Yeah,
podium.
he's talking crap too.
He was 679.
Son
Dano at 670, Rainman 664, Uper 625, Coach at 610. Then you got Worker Bee and Tardy tied at 605, Man Bundan 586, Beefcake 504, and Bromance rounding out the field. So Changa, what are we picking this week?
Oh, goodness. So this week, we started Monday and Tuesday. We picked the Extreme Outlaw Midgets at Millbridge Speedway in Salisbury, North Carolina. Of course, have already happened the last 2 nights. We're picking the Fall Frost at I-55 Speedway in Peevely, Missouri. Friday night modified, Saturday night mods and late models. We're picking the Power Eye weekend in Texas at Texas Motor Speedway in Fort Worth. Friday night late models, 410s, and USRA mods. We're picking the Street Stock Championship at Why Not Sports Park in Meridian, Mississippi. Saturday night's features. And then we're picking the Southern Thunder Super Dirt Series at Clarksville Speedway in Clarksville, Tennessee. Last race ever. Saturday
Last
night late
race
models.
ever there. So yeah, that's Thad Johannesson lives down there. I'm assuming he's probably going to go. I should reach out to him. But yeah, it's another one of those tracks been around for a long time. They're shutting the doors. The last race ever held this Saturday, Clarksville, Tennessee. Never good seeing a track close. I mean, it's just the reality of it. I mean, if you think back, 40 years ago, right? There's a lot of tracks that no longer exist that held that we raced at, and boy, I think we're kind of in that day of age with car counts lacking, fan counts lacking. Probably going to see more, right? So if you don't want to see that, if you're a promoter, you got to do things to make it more entertaining, right? And get more people there and excited about watching. And if you're a fan, or if you're a driver, you got to support them tracks. Otherwise, they're going to go away, and we don't want to see that. So, bold predictions. So, got a few stats back from Uper. We still have some pending ones here that are going to close out by the end of the year. So, we'll jump into I guess the way that he sent it to me. I got mine first here. So on show number 267, now we're on 282. So what's that? 15 weeks ago, right? 267. I said prematurely because he ran pretty good at a race. I said Littlehammer, Cade Nelson was going to get at least one win. Should have came off the board in the late model, not Crate late, in the Wissota late model, and prematurely made that prediction because I should have known he was only going to run a handful of shows because he wants to race for Rookie of the Year. That was wrong. Got that one incorrect. Last week I said the Herbs, Turbo and Dennis Herb Jr. would have a better average finish than Jimmy Owens, Kyle Bronson. Okay, so accumulatively, right? So Bert, you think I got that right or what? Huh?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
because
Jimmy Owens
Bronson
was the best
sucks.
guy for the 3 nights.
I did not get that right. I did not
No?
get that right. No.
Okay.
Jimmy Owens had a good weekend. He got a 5th, 1st, and a 3rd. Kyle Bronson got a 7th, 9th, and a 4th. So if you just add that all up, that's 29, right? Turbo got a 3rd, 10th after he stepped on his wiener in a 1st. And then Dennis Herb Jr., 8th, 7th, and 2nd for a 31. So, yep, did not get that correct. So, Bert, you had a couple old ones come off. You kind of laid a few out this week that are kind of stretched out. They're not coming off the board. But back in episode 272, 30 weeks ago, 31 weeks ago, 31 Jim McClellan weeks ago, okay? World of Outlaw Sprints, and this should have came off the board. We talked about it, but it hadn't been credited. You said Donnie Schatz would not get another top 5, and this was on August 20th. The rest of the year,
He got one.
He got one. He got one. He did.
Oh, bad beat.
Yeah. And then on episode 279, you said Superman Jonathan Davenport would be your Lucas Oil champion, and that did not happen either. Tonga, you had a couple come off the board here. Episode 252, long time ago. Chaston Finkbone would get at least one win this year as a rookie. That did not happen. That was wrong. Episode 260, Jimmy Owens will win the Hunt the Front Points. Get that one correct. Episode 279, RTJ. Where did RTJ finish? He got 2nd, right? In points? Yeah.
I would have to think so, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you said RTJ does not finish top 2 in Lucas.
Yeah, no, that one I got wrong.
That one you got wrong. And then Uper had a bunch come off the board here. Back episode 252, he said Rico would be the high limit champion. That one he got right. Also on episode 252, Brandon Shepard would be 4th at the cut and win the Lucas Oil points. Did not happen. And he said Shane Sobraski would win all 3 championships in 2025. That did not happen. He won 1. This past week, he said Larson, Quapple, and Majeski would win their 3 NASCAR championships, respectively. That did not happen. Larson came from deep to get it done. I guess that was pretty good. The Majeski led. He was leading, right, on the overtime deal. And what was it? Yeah. Corey Heim got him late. He didn't shut the door on him. And did Quapple win? I don't think Quapple won, did he?
No,
he didn't win either. So he got 1 of 3. And then he said,
J-Love won, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, Jordan Love. That's why he sucked so bad at football this past weekend.
He
was hungover yet from the victory the night before.
Right.
Yeah,
I have one that I don't know. That I think hasn't come off the board yet either, and it was way back at the beginning of the season when Rico struggled out of the gate, and then he first started winning a couple races. I made a prediction that he would get top 2 in the points, way
Do
back.
you not listen to a word we say on here?
Well, there was one about winning a championship. That one wasn't mine. That was Jeff's.
That one wasn't yours? Yeah. So there was one on here, but the way it was written out, I got to clarify what the hell it meant. Because it was something about most wins also.
Yeah.
So you said the way Uper, you know how Uper does his stats. You only get half the story. So I'm gonna have to go back and look at it. You're right. That one is still on the board. It's done, but I don't know rhyme or reason to what he has written down there. What else we got here? East Alabama. Uper said one driver will get a podium all 3 nights. One driver will get 2 podiums, and the rest will be different drivers. Well, way off on that. Multiple got 2, nobody got 3, so that was wrong. And then he said drivers by the first name of Matt or Matts would get 2 of the 3 podiums at the Super Dirt Car Series at Georgetown. The top 3, Alex Payne, Tim Sears Jr., Eric Rudolph. That was incorrect. So we keep track of correct predictions and correct percentage. Changa, you're leading the way in correct percentages at 30. Uper at 29. I'm at 28. Bert at 19. Bert, we can't pick on you anymore about all your bunts. We can't do it. We can't do it. Correct percentage, Changa's at 41.7. I'm at 41.2. And then Uper's at 35.8. Bert at 28.8. No more picking on Bert about the bunts. Now we can only pick on Changa. Okay? Now we got to pick on Changa.
Changa, is there trouble in paradise? Normally you have a license plate of Bobby Pierce behind you during the show. I see you're wearing a Hudson O'Neill t-shirt today.
The Prater.
So usually
Earlier
I
in the
do
show, you had a chance to
fine.
pick. You had a chance to pick Pierce as a guaranteed win, and you
He
didn't.
sucks at Charlotte.
He won one last year.
What's he at? Sitting here in about like 14th quick in his group right now.
So
Well,
you
he's
just
got a tough field. He's got Sanders, McBride, Stuckey ahead of him there. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
you just jumped ship.
No, I
he's
didn't
got a
jump ship.
Bears helmet on. I mean, what the hell? I mean,
I'll make a bold prediction on him in a second here.
all right. I like it. So Changa's, yeah, I mean, Changa, maybe they're not dating anymore, Bert. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I'm not. It's cold out now, so going into the camper is not an option anymore. It's winter time.
Fair enough. All right, so we're gonna make 3 laps around the track here to close this deal out. We'll start with Bert. We'll go to Changa. I got Upers here, and then I have my own as well. So Bert, what is your first prediction?
I'll do the Charlotte races and say late models. The top 5 in Lucas points right now will have a better average finish than the top 5 in World of Outlaw points.
The top 5 in points in Lucas drivers. I'm assuming all of those 10 drivers are there, right?
I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think they are. So the top 5 in Lucas points
Well,
will have
technically, Huddy's not. He's in a different ride.
Yeah, he's there.
Different car.
He's there.
He lost.
He's
It's a fail already.
All right. Top 5 in Lucas will have a better average finish than the top 5 in World of Outlaws. Okay. I like it.
Fifth?
Wasn't it Sheppy?
Yeah, Sheppy was 5th. I was going to say, is Alberson there? I don't think he's there. I haven't seen him if he is.
I haven't seen Alberson there, no. Yeah, I have not seen. All right. Changa?
Bobby Pierce will win the World Outlaw Championship.
I think that's like minus 5 points.
Bobby Pierce will win the World Outlaw Late Model freaking Hulk Hogan Beer National Championship of the World.
I'm gonna channel my inner Billy Madison. At no point did anything that you say resemble a rational thought.
But you didn't listen to the and. Okay? Ready? Because I'm going to add layers to this. Bobby Pierce will win the points. And Nick Hoffman will get 2nd. And David Gravel will win the sprint car points. And Kofoid will get 2nd. And none of them will win a race this weekend.
Okay.
That's bold.
That's bold. That is bold. That is bold. All right. The top 2 in the respective series, late models and sprints, neither one of them will win an A main. Heats don't count.
That would A main. Yeah, I mean that would be pretty tough to keep Gravel off of winning one of the 3 nights.
That is bold. I'll give it to you. That is bold for sure. For sure. All right. Uper's first prediction here. He's going to go World of Outlaw sprint cars. World of Outlaw regulars will get 50% or more of the podium finishes this weekend at Charlotte.
Late
Oh,
models?
no. My bad. I read that wrong. 50% or more of the top fives. World of Outlaw regulars, 50% or more of the top fives.
In which class?
Sprint cars.
Oh, I would hope so. There's hardly anybody else there.
There's 45 or 48 sprint cars. There's only
Yeah, I
12
know.
or
But
13
there's like
regulars.
the ones that count. There's like 2.
Yeah. There's only, I mean, you got gravel,
40 Day and Rico that are
pack,
pack,
Geo.
them guys G.O.A.T.
Yeah,
That's,
I think that's
I think
I
that's a
don't think
bunch
that's
and a half.
I don't think that's a gimme. I think that one's okay. All right. So I'll go World of Outlaw sprint. I'll go all 3 classes. So there's 3 A mains in each class. There's 9 podium drivers. So 27 total podiums over the course of the weekend, assuming the weather cooperates, right? There will be, if all 3 races, all 3 nights happen, there will be at least 15 different podium drivers over those 3 nights in the 3 classes combined. At least 15 podium drivers.
Out of what's that? 27 podium spots. You think there'll be 15 different guys?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the big blocks, I would expect to see Shepard and Williamson probably get a couple each, right? And, so gravel probably get
Shepard's not the same as he once was.
at least 15 podiums over the weekend. We got to text ours to Uper here, so that way he has them. So if you don't have yours written down, write down what you did, please, so we can text that to him. All right. So second prediction here, Bert. What do you got for your second prediction?
I'm going to go back earlier in the show and say the 3 drivers that I picked to win one feature this weekend will win a feature. And so that was Shepard in the big blocks, Davenport in the late models, and I believe it was Gravel in the sprint cars.
They'll each win one.
They'll each get at least one feature win this weekend.
Okay, so remember, write that down however you want it. We'll send that to you. Okay.
Okay.
So Gravel, Matt Shepard, Jonathan Davenport, at least one A main win this weekend for each of them. Okay. Changa, your second one.
Can I just go the opposite of what Uper's first one was?
He loves when you do that.
I know I should do that, but apparently that wouldn't be bold enough for him. How about this one? I'm gonna go sprint cars, and I'm gonna say Rico 0 podiums.
0 podiums for Rico this weekend. Okay. So the second prediction for Uper, he's going to go late models, World of Outlaw late models. Non-World of Outlaw regulars will account for 50% or more of the podium finishes. And at first he had top 5. I'm like, well, holy shit, that's majorly a bunt. But he brought it down to podium. So 50% or more of the podiums in the late model this weekend, non-World of Outlaw regular.
I think that's a bunt.
I think it is too. I think that's definitely a bunt. I would agree. All right. I am going to go weekend racing in general. Okay. Weekend racing in general. I'm going to go a little parlay here. Out of these 5 drivers, at least 4 of these 5 get a win this weekend. At least 4 of these 5 get a win this weekend. We're going to start easy. We're going to go a little harder. Okay.
Huh.
Chris Madden is going to get a win. David Gravel's going to get a win. Tim Fuller is going to get a win. Mike Harrison is going to get a win. And Cade Dillard is going to get a win. Dillard, I believe, is racing in Texas. I believe Mike Harrison is racing at I-55. So out of those 5 drivers, Harrison, Dillard, Madden, Gravel, and Tim Fuller, at least 4 of 5 get a win this weekend.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
All right, Bert, your third and final lap around the racetrack here. What do you got?
All right, I need to consult with my dog who helps me make my picks each
All right,
week.
no, dogs are cool. We got it. So it's good to have a little helper on there. We'd rather look at the dogs than our 3 ugly mugs. Put the dog back up there. That's way better to look at.
Whoops. Who am I directly ahead of in the points again?
Governor.
Yeah. All right. My prediction is I will finish ahead of him by a wider point gap than there is right now.
It's at
The very
what,
end
6?
or this weekend?
At the very end of the year.
Okay. Okay. So right now, going into the week, so write this down, Bert, so that way, going into the week, you were 5 points ahead of Governor. So you will beat Governor by more than 5 points.
Yes.
Okay. By 6 or more. Okay. Changa, third and final lap around the track.
Boy, I keep getting this excitement up here. Dustin Sorensen going fast.
He is second quick in his group right now.
Yeah. I will go. Oh, I typically do this every draft. I'm going to go that Changa finishes outside of the top 5 in our draft.
You know what? I hope you're right. I could use a little buffer here. All right. Changa finishes outside the top 5 in the draft. Okay. Okay. All right. Uper's third and final prediction. All 3 point leaders going off, and they're pretty solidly ahead. Bobby Pierce, David Gravel, Matt Williamson, respectively. All 3 of them will win at least one A main. Pierce, Gravel, Williamson all win at least one A main this weekend.
Good chance of that.
Yeah.
I think they all did last year.
Right. So looking at last year's finishes here. Okay. Cole Foyt had 2 podiums. Madden, RTJ, and Marlar they all had 2 podiums. Peck had 2 podiums. So that's 1, 2, Macedo 3. Gravel, Cole Foyt, Peck, Macedo. Wow. So 4 drivers in the sprints. 1, 2, 3 drivers in the late models had multiple podiums. So that's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Last year, 11 different drivers had 2 or more podiums on the weekend.
Oh.
That's actually impressive. This year, it's going to be less than that. You know what? I can't do that. I already did that at least 15 podiums. I can't do another.
I was just gonna say you already did something similar.
Yeah, I can't do that. Let me go to my other one here. I'll go with the combination of and the best average finish. And we're going to take 3 drivers. We're going to take a driver from each class. And we're going to go ahead and take the point leaders versus the favorites. Okay. The point leaders are Pierce Gravel, Matt Williamson. Okay. That's Group A. Group B is Chris Madden, Rico Abreu, and I'll go Tim Fuller. Okay. Group B is going to have more. So Fuller, Rico, Madden will have a better average finish than Pierce, Gravel, Williamson.
Wow. Okay.
So we'll go bold on that.
I do have one question. What is our last race of the year? Is it Gateway for Pick'ems?
More than likely. I'll take a
Okay.
quick look here this week and see if there's anything
We're going to be
substantial.
picking Crown Vics in like December 29th or something.
What the fuck do you have against Crown Vics? Why do you have to be such a hater
Well, John,
on the
you should want to
grassroots
pick
class?
as many races as we can to catch him.
You know
I
what?
just want to get rid of drafts. I'd be winning by 20 points.
I think that you just it sucks to suck.
I know. I'm terrible at drafts. Too much pressure on these drafts, right?
It sucks to suck.
I know.
Hey, at least you have all 6 of your drivers there this week. I only got 5. I only have 1 gimme, and I have no provisionals. I didn't pick anybody.
I hope like 3 more of your drivers get the flu.
They might, but I don't have any provisionals. So I kind of rolled the dice, kind of hoping for some wins. Chris Madden, quick time in Group B there. So that's good to see. One of my guys. That a boy. So yeah, I'll look to see if there's anything substantial after Gateway. I don't think there is. In years past they had a couple bigger shows or whatever, but more than I'll kind of know in the next day or two, and that's probably going to be the cutoff. And then we'll get started with the Chili Bowl and the Wild West Shootout in January. So yeah, I guess I'm pretty jacked up for World Finals. I mean, the track's got moisture. Traditionally, guys, this track has been bone dry, dusty, marbly, and it'll get to that by the end of the weekend, I'm sure. But boy, the track looked in pretty good shape tonight for qualifying. Still a lot of moisture in it at the end after 2 full sets of time trials for all them cars. So it'll be interesting to see. But any closing thoughts before we sign off here?
No, it should be a good weekend of racing. Kind of makes it frustrating watching how your drivers are doing rather than just watching the racing for the enjoyment.
Well, it doesn't have to be frustrating. Pick drivers that do good, and then you can be excited. What are you talking? Why you gotta be so negative?
It's just like fantasy football.
So
hey, you're doing pretty good. You're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
My one thought was
took a tough loss this week, injury wise. So
I lost to frickin' Tardy this week. That's like unacceptable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, there's like 4 teams that are 5-4.
His receivers are unbelievable. He's got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamar Chase, and JSN. That's pretty solid. My running backs are good, but they all sucked this weekend. Jonathan Taylor and Bijan were terrible.
I got like 15 total points for my 2 running backs.
Yeah, that don't really help. That don't really help. So
speaking of football, I just wanted to add one more thing. So we already went over the Packers had a bad game. They didn't play very well, had a tough loss. But now that you've jumped ship to the Lions, how did they feel about their bad loss?
I've not jumped ship.
President of the Lions Club, you had to run the meeting last night. Come on, tell us what the mood was there.
Do they even allow the Lions Club in Wisconsin? Or I can't believe there's not people boycotting out front, calling it like the Packers Club or something.
No, it's Lions Clubs all over the place.
All right, boys. Well, always fun chatting racing with you guys. Things are winding down, not quite as much stuff, so I'm sure there'll be some exciting shit over the weekend in Charlotte. There's a lot of racing to be had, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. And of course, the WISSOTA meetings this weekend. We got a lot of eyes in the sky, so anything interesting happens down there, any rule changes, anything crazy, we'll be sure to let you guys know next week. So, as always, thanks for tuning in to the One to Go Show.